Hi, brothers and sisters. I'd like to share more of the story of the Earth. So this is like part 3 of my Genesis part 1 and 2. It is so complicating, that it took me a while to tell this story, and also I need time to digest it. And also, I guess, from dictation from my higher self, that it was not ready to be told yet. So I like to share what I know, and it's up to you to discern, and maybe some of you know this already. So part of the galactic history, I will not start how the Earth was made, because people already made that video. The good person to watch is Alex Collier's video. It's 2012 Alien Secret, by Alex Collier, something like that. So he tells you who were here and such number of years. So I will fill up the missing information that was not in Alex Collier's history, because this is part of learning. I get the information that's the missing information from my research. So the Earth, let's start from who are the 3 groups that were interested of this planet. The first one was the Reptoid Federation, that was a conglomeration of many reptoids, and the main leader is the Draconian Queen. And then the Orion Empire, which also consists of many entities, serpents, human races, other animal race, and the Galactic Confederation, which is consists of many groups of star nations, mostly humans. They're not all humans. Some of them are not humans, but the Galactic Confederation. So these are the 3 main players of the Earth. So when the Earth was prepared by the Pataals left these 1 computer each on our solar system. We have 12 planets, and the 7 planets are physical planets, and the 5 are spiritual. Same thing with our life key, the ankhs. The right side of that life key is represents material experiences. So it consists of 7 colors. And the left side of the ankhs consists of 5 colors, because it's a spiritual side. And so on these 7 physical planets, the Pataals left 1 computer each. So we are not the only human races here having experiences with our life. There are other planets too who are experiencing similar experiences, but not as bad as the Earth. This is the crazy planet, So the Pataals created 17 wormholes, and during that time, so they are the only ones who knows how to create these wormholes, and 15 had snapped, and only 2 were still inoperable. So one of that location is in Iran. I'm not going to tell the second one. And this is the reason that they wanted to take over Iran, because of that wormhole, the Stargate. By the way, every planet has a Stargate. Okay, now let's go to the races. Let's go to the history first quickly. In the Galactic Records, the Draconians were the first one who landed here on Earth. and they planted their animals, the dinosaurs and all that stuff, but they become extinct. So these draconians, that is the galactic record, but there are other entities underneath the surface that were living here, so I will come to that later. So the draconians tried to shift our ecosystem from O2, the oxygen base, which is us, they were oxygen breathers, to hydrogen, and they had failed, so they left. Then the second group of the Alpha Draconians, they came back, but it's a different group, the worker caste. The first one were the royalty caste. Then the second group was the worker caste. So they set up their so-called Eden, their biosphere in Arizona. So many races came here and they set up their many Edens all over the place. So when the Anunnaki, before that, there are other races already had lived here, the Lyrans, the Pleiadians. When the Anunnaki decided to conquer Earth, they had won and kicked out the, let's say, the watchers or the caretakers of this Earth, that they had damaged their ship, these Anunnaki. So they decided to create two tribes to dig gold mine for them. So these two tribes were created in Mars with 2 genes only instead of the 12, to make us controllable and can be ruled. So these 2 tribes in the northern Africa, they're not black people. They are the red race prototype. So in due time, those races, even though they have 2 genes only, they started to revolt, because as time goes by, our DNA gets strengthened. So 75,000 years later, the Anunnaki, they had cross-genetic our genes from the human gene, from that 2 DNA, with their reptilian gene. And so the hybrid of that was then implanted inside the Homo erectus DNA. That started our human history, the transformation process. So while this Jehovah was the leader of that reptilian group at that time. So when they created these hybrids, they created them as slaves, But that is not the only history of the Earth. There are other races that came here, okay? So, per Alex Collier's statement that in this planet, the spirits that are here are either very, very high evolved spirits, like the Christed beings, like the Buddha consciousness, and the other side, the other group was the very low evolved race, which is they are still in the infancy level, and there's a explanation for that, why we have so many of that. So when we talk about the game from the polarity integration game, where my Genesis part 1 and 2, that the reptilians created their own race, and same thing with the Lyra constellation, the felines. Oh, by the way, the constellation of Lyra, the reason that it was named as Lyra, it symbolized a musical instrument. It's because the origin of the human race started in Lyra constellation. That is the first song of humanity started. So that's why it was named Lyra. The races were made, the red race, the red platinum haired, and then it started to branch out with us, the brown haired, even the Zeta Reticuli, the Orion Grays, they were also part of that creation. But the Zeta Reticuli, they were created in the other group, the opposite energy, and the Orion Grays. So when all these races participated here on Earth for genesis of Mother Earth, the Earth was really like a prison planet, so to speak, because any experiment that did not come out properly, like rejects, they dump those spirits here. And any bad creation, the rebellious one, they dumped him, the criminals one, they dumped him here. So yes, the planet has so many karma. The first, when Jehovah created his clones, his races, the new group of the Syrians came. They had wars, and the Syrians defeated Jehovah and kicked out Jehovah and the Orion Grays group. So they were left. They left the planet. So the Syrians are the one who took control of Earth. Now these Syrian beings, the Syrians they are in the Orion star system, but there are mixed. There are good energy Syrians and there are bad. Like the Clarion planet, that's a good energy. These serious entities that came here that defeated Jehovah was the higher evolved race of the Syrians, which is they are in the highest 8th form. Their technology was better than Jehovah. So during that time that when they ruled, this creation that Jehovah had done, the human beings, the Syrians modified these beings. Instead of just one hemisphere of the brain, they implanted a mammalian brain with that DNA. So they created new human beings. By the way, the Adam and Eve on this planet are multiple. Whoever is the creator, there's always a Adam and Eve, because it's their creation. So they had modified that DNA and created new clones, and with that they also inserted a time release cell. You have to remember on my part 2 of the Genesis that those Homo erectus were given consciousness by the elders because the elders were grateful for the Homo erectus DNA contribution for them to walk upright. So they were given their own consciousness and power. And during that time, the Homo erectus were the food source of these reptilians back in the Orion. And these Orion started to create more races of the reptilians. And the Homo erectus that time, those reptilians there in Orion, they mixed the Homo erectus DNA with the reptilian, and which created a new race of the black people. I don't mean to sound prejudiced here, but that is the origin of the black people, solely for being as a slave of these reptilians. So the planet of the apes do exist. So you think it's only a movie here. The planet of the apes do exist, and they have good technology, and they were the ones who modified the human DNA here. So they had created new humans here. They are called the Lemurians. And these Lemurians were, they have great technology, they have great mind power, they have great civilization in Lemuria. And they were visited by their creators, those Syrian beings, back and forth to this planet and then back to its Vega star system. Excuse me. And so that's what happened. Meanwhile, the spirits, it's complicating, but let me go back a little bit in time. So many planets were already destroyed during the many wars, okay, where the planet Maldek was destroyed, and then the planet Lucifer exploded also, and that hit Mars and killed Mars planet. So there were so many spirits that are here on this planet that trying to reincarnate again, because the rule is whatever is the next planet habitable for humans are the next planet to colonize. So we have so many races here on Earth. So the Lemurians, they were caused to evolve quickly because of their genetic manipulation. And then by the way, Jehovah created the Semites race. The Semites, their god is Jehovah. No offense to Semites there, but okay. Now let's go. When the Lemurians started to live in harmony, because they are spiritual people, even though they look higher form of animal, the apes or the dogs, they are spiritual people. So the spirit trying to reincarnate again, from the minerals to the flora to the fauna, and some of them incarnate in these Lemurian bodies, which starting to form humans. Then 200,000 years later, these races decided to live in harmony. They said, okay, let's see if we can live in harmony. So 7 races claimed as ownership of this planet. So these races decided to put together their base in Lemuria. And these races, they are called the Lyrans, the original race in Lyra. They are platinum-haired and red-haired. They call it like the Alpha Canis constellation and the Taurus constellation. The Alpha Canis is the Sirius stars system, and the Taurus is the Pleiadians, the 7 stars, 7 sisters. So the Sirius, the Lyrans, the Sirius, the Pleiades, the Taygeta and Europa, Ursa Minor, and Bootes. Bootes is the Nibiru, but during that time the name is Bootes. So they work together in Lemuria and in harmony, and many races, many spirits that incarnated. Some of them complained like they incarnated in the wrong body, either they incarnated in an animal body, or in the because they belong in the different race and they incarnated in the wrong body. So the outcry of these spirits were heard by the heavens. So the 7 wise beings, this is only my share part of the story, okay? You don't have to believe what I said, but I share what I know. the 7 wise beings were sent here to modify a universal body on Earth. So this way, they start over again. And the gene will, the body will not reject whatever race we're going to incarnate. So these 7 wise beings, they created a universal body and live here on Earth as to manage, the evolution. So in the planet Lemuria, they decided during that time Lemuria was in the 0 point. So and somehow they decided to live in a lower dimension to try how it is like. So by their agreement, they had their councils, their priesthood group. They decided that they will experience the lower life. They said, okay, by your request, we will live in the lower, from the 4th dimension, they will live in a lower dimension. So the first flood happened, and at that time, they also agreed that they will have no memory. Okay, so this new game that they wanted to play, they have no memory. Because if you're good spirit, I guess, okay, let me try if I can find my way back to my Christ consciousness. So when the first flood happens, some were killed, Some they're forced to live on the surface and become surface dwellers. They started to have war, misunderstanding, arguments, and all that stuff. And what happened to that, with the minds being manipulated by the duality now, because the duality energy now came in, the reptilians really forgotten, or their bad energy starting to take control of their reptilian energy. So they tried to flip the axis of the planet to make it really sink in the lower dimension. And they were tricky, and I guess the Draconians took advantage of that, and they always flip the pole axis of this planet to make us really forget and have so much negative energy. It was not that bad at that time. So let me when they started to disagree, this game were heard in other star systems, like in Sirius, that this game on Earth is going on, and the only rule is you have free will on that game. If you decided to quit the game, then you have that free will, and they say, okay, I quit this game, it's too much for me. So the slaves that were created by reptilians in Orion, in Orion constellation, starting to have resistance. The slaves don't want to be slaves anymore. So they're starting to communicate on how they are going to escape from the empire of Orion, because the Orion empire, they operate in a hive mind, like the bees. The bees are working in hive. They can communicate with each other, but they are controlled by one higher, the queen bee, right? Okay, so Orion is ruled by one leader, but they have no power. They can communicate, and whatever is in their thoughts, everyone always know. But somehow these slaves, or the resistance, did not come to realize that yet. So they tried many times to rebel and escape, and every time they execute their plans, they always get caught by the Orion because they are connected to this mass consciousness. Then later on, they wise up. They said, in order for us to get out of this slavery, we have to disconnect our minds from this mind consciousness connected with Orion. So what they do, they meet personally and plans their plan of escape. Because in Orion, your body doesn't die in few hundred years. So the slavery there really takes so long, you cannot get out of the system. Even when these entities try to practice the mind power to get out, but they are always detected by this mass consciousness of Orion, and they always get caught. However, they started to learn that when they started to escape and the Orion energy started to chase them, they had this extra capability now that they can create a window, like a window to escape, and then it's just like a wormhole. And when it happens, they are able to get in that window and landed on Earth. So when they landed on Earth, they also fall back to the role of no memory, which is a good thing for them, because when they have no memory that's connected with Orion, then they cannot be traced by the Orion Empire. So many have done that, like the red giants of the Betelgeuse, and those resistance started to create their Black League. The Black League, they have that here on this planet too, the Black Dragon Society, the Black League. So that's what they do, and the only memory of this escapee that landed here on Earth is their energy can tell where they come from. If you have an energy that you want to control, you're always like bossy. You always wanted to control. That means you have that Orion energy. Maybe you are an escapee. And also, other entities in the Orion star system, the Blacks, they wanted to leave their planet because Orion are infringing their territory. Some were helped by the Pleiadians, and they brought those races here on Earth to start a new life. However, when the reptilians see them, they always get arrested, and then they become slaves here to dig gold mine for them as additional workers. So their memory, when it's connected to Orion, these Syrians, the Orion can tell, hey, you are slaves in Orion, then you come here. Here, you're still a slave here, buddy. Come on and dig gold. So that's what happened. And during that time, so many wars happening also. It's the 6 planets, it's called the unholy 6 planets in Orion, where the tyranny really got so bad that they microchip everyone. And this is how we got the word Tyrantor. The tyranny existed in the planet Tyrantor, where everyone was microchipped. So even when you die on that planet, you are still a slave to Orion because you are microchipped. And the only way for you to get out of that slavery, to get out of that prison, is to consciously return to the light, to choose the positive energy. So this is your chance here on this planet here on Earth to start a new life. If you were a slave by the Orion or the Draconians, you have a chance to start over again with your life, to return to the light consciously. So that is the only way you can break that chain of the invisible chain of slavery. So that planet Terrantur was blown up to pieces by other spiritual beings, maybe they see that, this is too much. The people were microchipped, and even after that, they are still under that empire. Same thing what happened in Maldek also, where this Illuminati had started there. So now there are so many kinds of spirits here on earth incarnating in a universal body. That is why some of the spirits are high evolved spirits, and some were still in the level of infancy, because the reptilians races that break out from the negative group are starting their life. So they have a chance to return to the light. So they need to stop being pathetic or negative or so controlling. This is their chance here on earth. So it gets so complicating that Mother Earth's karma is really, really bad. Her role as the mother planet is really painful. So much sacrifices, and we do not respect her. Okay, now let me move forward before I get so absorbed with Mother Earth. So this planet, as I said earlier, this is like a prison planet, the asylum of the crazy people. So it is like in the early years in the European country, where in England, when they have criminals and they want to dump their criminals, get rid of them in their land, they take these criminals to Australia, and let them fend off for themselves, let them survive. And that is how planet Earth is like. Wars going on between the many races. The Pleiadians come back and forth. The Pleiadians are the like doing the management, because of the races that were created by Jehovah and then the Syrians. So they teach agriculture, law, medicine during the time of Atlantis. I will stop on that because that will be another story. So at that time, maybe I stop, it will be a different story. So I just want to focus on that our life here on earth, we are mixed with so many kinds of spirits and races. So we must learn to accept that even the Draconians that wanted to return to the light, we are able to welcome them, because we are all one. It doesn't matter where we come from. Our prime creator is the source of our spirit. So we are all one, and for they decided to return to the light. If they remain pathetic and negative, then we can just wish them the best in their journey. It is not their time to return. I love you all, brothers and sisters. As I said, keep the faith, keep the love. Be like a child, full of wonder and joy. This is your best weapons and defense against the negative forces. Bye.